How's it going? I'm a little bit depressed, not gonna lie. I'm depressed because I realize there's absolutely no games to play. Like, nothing hypes me up. Well, actually, Path of Exile does, but other than that, nothing. I just realized that Diablo 4 expansion pack came out. I'm like, well, maybe they fixed stuff, you know? Maybe they made it work. And I decided to look at some reviews from people that I trust. Basically, they're saying that the people who made the story for the expansion were retarded. Like, there's no other explanation. Like, these people had an IQ deficiency. Like, they wouldn't be able to tell you how they would feel if Diablo 4 was actually great on release. You know? Oh my goodness. How can you fuck up a hack and slash game? Like, come on. Like, you don't even ask for that much. It's a hack and slash game. How can you fuck up the story for it? But they did. They did. Hello, bipedal species. Welcome to the show. Ad block? No. Oh, Nightmare. Long time no see. I get to see a lot of people because I'm streaming at a weird hour. Yeah, so Diablo 4, apparently the expansion is a disappointment. I looked at the new class that they released, and it's like an Udyr thing where, you know, you got spirit animals and shit, and it's like, bought it. It's... I guess like Path of Exile will probably save me. It's the only thing that I'm looking forward to right now. Do you guys like... Do you get hype anymore? Like, is there anything that's coming out and you're like, wow, this is so great. I can hardly wait to play it. To be fair, there is a movie which is really good. And the reason it's good is that it wasn't designed by Hollywood with the committee, and it's not, you know, a remake or a reimagining. This movie was made, and I actually spoke about it the previous stream. This movie was made by a guy with just like horror films, and he uploaded it on YouTube, and it was very successful. He managed to get a sequel, and now is the third one. It's called The Terrifier. And it's just like a really great horror film, which is a slasher. I grew up with these films. Like, the women that are there, they actually look like women. They're beautifully casted. And apparently it's good. Like, everyone that saw it, this is great. And it's like, wow. Holy shit, apparently you can make good movies if you don't follow the boring formula of inclusivity and diversity and stuff. And you just, like, you know, do what they used to. Right. Did you know that the European Union is forcing companies to release their ESG metrics? This is something that most people don't know. It's why CD Projekt Red went woke. It's why Good Old Games is going woke. Like, they're all saying, it's like, oh, we're making video games, and look how environmental friendly we are. We care about the animals, and we care about the rainforests, and we love Greta Thunberg. Well, we used to love Greta Thunberg, but now she's supporting Hamas, so we don't love her anymore. You're going to see a lot more woke shit coming from Europe. Like, the wokeness is going to amplify tenfold. Again, the European Union is forcing companies to release their woke metrics. So, basically, there's not necessarily a punishment if you have bad woke metrics, but then you have problems with getting investors. Then you can have EU regulators looking into it. And it is literally basically like, how many gay people do you have in your company? How much did you virtue signal about the environment? How many characters did you race swap? How many characters did you gender swap? You know, it's that type of shit. So, yeah, I don't expect that we're going to see any quality entertainment coming from the EU anytime soon. I don't expect CD Projekt Red is going to still make good games. But, you know, like, it's only the big companies that have to do it. So, hopefully the small companies, the independent ones, are still going to put out good things. You may have, like, an independent film every now and then coming up. Speaking of diversity, you know, I was looking at this and it's just like it blows my mind. This is the difference between Lord of the Rings the movie and Lord of the Rings, the Rings of Power plus Privilege. And you look at the first one, right? Like the first one are the elves from the previous game, and they look like fantasy creatures. They look like incredibly dignified, heroic. Like when they came on the set, you actually felt the gravitas, right? Like you felt that they're not humans. And then you look at whatever the fuck this is, and it just looks like a stock photo. It just looks like random people just staying there. And it's interesting because I talked about it on Twitter, and immediately the leftists are like, oh, where does it say that elves cannot be black people? It doesn't say, does it? There's no rule, so if there's no rule there... And I'm like, oh, fucking hell. I didn't even bring up race into it. I mean, you can have black elves. I mean, that have been done in anime. They have been done in Neverwinter Nights. You got black elves in Dragon Age. But at least they look good, right? Like they knew how to cast. They had talented people working rather than people that were gifted the job as some sort of medal. I actually looked at the documentary for Lord of the Rings, and they talk about how the director that was in charge with the casting had a very difficult job. And they actually interviewed the director, and they say, yeah, I can only hire from Ireland, and the population that, like the recruitment pool that I got is like 300,000 people because I need to hire between the age of 16 and 25, and we're looking for people that are in peak physical condition. They need to be really tall, they need to be really handsome. Like, this is what they did, you know, like they had an actual person that was looking for this shit. Now it's like, no, we need average people, and this is what you get. Zero immersion. And I've been saying this when I was watching Picard. It's like the alien races don't feel alien anymore. It's like you're looking at the Romulans and it's just like humans cosplaying at a Star Trek convention. The problem is, like, I have seen cosplayers that do better elves than this shit. So fucking shameful, isn't it? Like you have AAA productions and they are making stuff that's worse than the shit you get for free on the internet. Like Silent Hill is another example. It's in the thumbnail. And I seen like modders do a better job at modding their female characters than whatever their talent team is doing. It's so fucking disgusting, right? And it's disgusting because it's everywhere. Like, it would be fine if it's like one production. Everything. And you know, like I told the guy that's like, why do black people can't be elves, right? Like, first of all, I understand that they keep saying like white people have no culture, and when they said that, it wasn't like an observation. It was like what the future has to be, because if you have like 10 white people that want to make a video game studios, Kotaku and Polygon start shaming them, right? Like you just cannot have like a movie made by white people. It's like, no, you can have a movie that's made by Chinese people, like that's fine. You can have one made by Japanese people, that's acceptable. If some black women would make a production and it's only black women, that's fine. But like the moment some Europeans make a movie, holy shit. Why don't you cast Democrats in it? Where's the Americans? So I was like, you know, I hope I get to live to see Anne Frank played by a black man. I mean, that we're going there, right? Like, everything has to be. And I'm like, I'm not against if something is, but like, why does everything has to be? Like, everything needs to have multiracial people in it. Again, I'm not against it, but it feels forced now, to the point when I see it, it breaks immersion. Which is why I just watch Korean films now. I don't even watch white people films. I watch Korean, I watch Japanese shit. Sweet Home, I really recommend it. The Kingdom as well. Really good movies. Go watch it. TV show, sorry, not my bad. But the thing is, right, I never brought race into it, but like if the conversation was calling for it, I'm not ashamed to talk about it. Yeah, I mean, it's a European folklore thing, right? Like Tolkien, Lord of the Rings, it's a British stuff, like it belongs to Europe. If they were to take African mythology and cast white people in it, I would also be against it. It's like, you're ruining the authenticity of it. Stop it. But anyway, right? At least if it was good, you know. At least if they did a good job with casting. You can cast black elves. That's not a problem. But like, hire actors that actually look as if they're well, I mean, when you say elvish in the Lord of the Rings context, they should look angelic. That's pretty much how they should look. With the Game Freak tell Ralek, every Pokemon fanfiction writer in the world has just been vindicated. I heard that like some Pokemon stuff got leaked and a lot of women were writing erotica in it. I haven't really looked to see what that's about, but I heard it's like Pokemon raping humans and shit. And is that official? Like, is that official writers? Come on, V, you know they don't care about the lore or the story. Yeah, which is the problem. You know, this is what really pisses me off. It's like these people that are hired, man. They usually put individuals that actually hate the production. Like, this is the thing that really pisses me off. It's like, why do you constantly put people that dislike the IP in charge of the IP? Like, for instance, they're remaking Harry Potter now. And, like, no one asked for it, but, like, okay, they are doing it, whatever. And the guy that's in charge, he says he doesn't like the books and he's not going to read them. And I'm like, okay, like, but, like, out of all the people that could have been in charge of the production, why couldn't you hire someone that actually read those fucking books? They're children books. Come on, like, anyone can do it. You just need an afternoon and you almost read half of one. It's like, it's not like difficult literature. Like, J.K. Rowling doesn't write like some Shakespearean level stuff, you know? It's... God, it is what it is. Peter Dinklage as Shaka Zulu. Yeah, I mean, this is the thing, right? Like, they genuinely try to think that people are human resources and it really doesn't matter what you cast. Like you can cast Peter Dinklage as Shaka Zulu, or you can cast Peter Dinklage as Khal Drogo, and the scene would be the same. Like you wouldn't get a different vibe. You wouldn't get like any different immersion. Yeah, you can cast Lizzo as Daenerys. Yeah, it's fine. You know, like the people are interchangeable. There's absolutely no visual element to movies or making a scene or, you know, like creating immersion. No, it's okay. Peter Dinklage as the Hulk. Ah. That would actually be funny. That would actually be cool. I would watch Peter Dinklage as the Hulk. Man, by the way, I really hate Peter Dinklage. No, seriously, I hate the actor. Because he has political opinions. Like, he opened his mouth. The reason that I hate Peter Dinklage... And I actually like the guy, you know? I really like the guy in the beginning. I'm like, wow, you know, like, he actually made the name for himself. He's a good actor. But then you realize that, no, he's a piece of shit. V, why are you calling Peter Dinklage a piece of shit? Well, you watch Game of Thrones, right? And a lot of people were really upset after the last season, and I understand people, like, you invested a lot of time, you invested money, and you basically may have purchased some merchandise for Game of Thrones, right? So, like, people were invested in the show, and people really liked it, and because of that, Peter Dinklage made a lot of money. But people really hated the ending, and the ending is objectively bad, and you can also say that, yeah, they stopped giving a fuck. By the last season, they stopped giving a fuck. I mean, you get Starbucks coffee cups on the table. There was like another water bottle that they forgot in another scene. Like literally, you can tell that the directors, the Dumb and Dumber, they literally just stopped giving a fuck by the last season. So like a lot of people were upset, you know. A lot of people were disappointed with the ending. Even the actors themselves, like I remember Daenerys appearing when she was reading the script and she just couldn't believe what she is reading. So people were upset and Peter Dinklage comes up and tries to gaslight people. It's like, oh, you guys didn't like it because the show didn't end with pretty white people flying into the sunset. And then he also says that it's a show about dragons. Why do you really care? And at that point, I started to dislike the man. At that point, I'm like, you know what? From this day forward, if Peter Dinklage appears in any movie, I will refuse to see him. Out of spite. Literally. Like, I will feel good. There is no amount of entertainment that I can get from a movie or a TV show than I can get by not watching it knowing that Peter Dinklage is there. Like, it's actually entertaining for me. Like, I know that I deprive him of some royalties. I know that me not watching it makes his audience more diverse. So basically, everything he said is wrong. Like, first of all, it's a show about dragons. Why do you care? Well, why did you play something that you don't care? And secondly, you know, if people didn't care, you wouldn't be rich right now. Like, the only reason you have money is because people cared. And secondly, the show actually did end with pretty white people flying into the sunset. In fact, yeah, it was the minorities that got shafted in the Game of Thrones ending. Like, all the Dothraki had to go home. Like, the Dothraki really got fucked in that. But let's see. Bran was on the throne, right? So, pretty white person. Arya Stark takes her little boat and sails away. Another pretty white person. Jon Snow survives. Another pretty white person. Like, yeah, like, what the fuck is he smoking? Like he doesn't even know the movie that he played in. Sorry, the TV show that he played in. It's almost like he had to say these things. So that was like strike one. That really pissed me off, you know? And then the second thing that pissed me off is when Snow White happens, like Disney cast Snow White, and he starts moaning about the dwarves in the fairy tale. And it's like, those 9 actors, right? All those 7 actors that were dwarves and lost their jobs were giving Peter the middle finger. And the media didn't want to talk about them that much. But, like, there were a couple of articles, like, basically, you know, they stopped short in calling him an asshole. Because they couldn't, you know, because it's, like, the media, so they can't curse and stuff. But what a fucking dick, you know? Like he manages to get a job specifically because of his height. Because, like, that's what they needed in order to cast for the role of Tyrion. He manages to become a multi-millionaire and then kicks the ladder down for other people. Wow, what a piece of shit, man. That's a bit too much spite. He's a good actor. Yeah, of course, you know, he's a good actor, but he opened his mouth and talked about politics. Like, had he shut the fuck up, I wouldn't know that. I wouldn't know that about him, so... Yeah, like, if you want to make it political, fine. But then you need to have the right politics. And take into account that the nation is usually divided 50-50, so... Pick your poison. Why don't you name your video what they're about so they can be found? Because I don't know what I'm going to talk. I had no idea I'm going to be talking about Peter Dinklage, man. Like the Kami Chocolate ad, or the Rocky Debate example, or the Kami Simpsons. Well, sometimes I talk about commies, other times I don't. The Snow White thing was a real low. Only Fox News covered it properly. Yeah, but it's like... When a person is such an asshole that you can't enjoy the movie anymore, I would rather just not watch it. You know? It's kind of like difficult to articulate. Like, maybe other people aren't like me. But if I know that the person in that movie is an awful human being, it just takes me out. It breaks my immersion. So, like, there is no movie in which Peter Dinklage can star in that I would enjoy now. Like, even if it's free, I don't care. Like, if I know he's there, I just don't go and I don't watch it. And I get more entertainment out of it. Like, I actually get enjoyment when I make the decision not to watch it. I think he was right, but for other reasons. I don't want to see little people as dwarves because, to me, they just don't look like the part. Well, the thing is, like, no one wants a Snow White remake. No one fucking wants a Snow White adaptation either. Right? If you were to make dwarves in Snow White, I would have made them like Warhammer 40k. Right? Like, they would be old and they would have beards. Kind of like, Lord of the Rings did. right? Like that was a good way to represent dwarves, like Gimli and stuff. But like, who wants a Snow White live adaptation? Who asked for it? I'm not even going to watch it. Like, I already know the story. It's like, I don't get what's happening with Disney, man, and how long can they keep it up? Like, they're going to run out of things eventually, and I bet when they do, they will start remaking the remakes again. What if he is playing an awful person? Okay. If he is playing Jesus Christ in The Passions of the Christ by Mel Gibson, and he is like Jesus being crucified, maybe I would watch it then. But for different reasons that aren't religious in nature. But that would probably be like the only exception. Nobody lasts for like 80% of the movies they crap out these days. Yeah, like literally every single day another sequel. Another remake. Another reimagining. It's like, when do we get to see some original stuff? No, I wouldn't watch Passions of the Christ too, because like that would be with Jesus going to heaven and stuff. And it's like, no, I don't think like Peter Dinklage would be a good pick for that role. Can we start calling out corporations like Ubisoft and CD Projekt Red for killing their companies through retardation? Yeah, well, I just said this at the beginning of the stream. I don't know if you followed it, but CD Projekt Red is in the European Union, and the European Union now, this year, forces every single company to release their ESG metrics. So expect every single company that does business with the EU to become woke, if it's not already. And if it is, become even woker. Gladiator 2 is the worst offender. Man, it's almost like I got Ultra Instinct now. I dodge these movies without even seeing the trailer. And so far, I don't think I made a single decision that I regret. Like it's getting to the point where if I hear it's another sequel to something that was made like 10 years ago, I just don't watch it. I don't even watch the trailer. I don't waste my time. And it turns out that I'm right. You know, like Gladiator 2. It's like, oh, well, this was a movie that would have been cool 15 years ago. But not to mention, like, it's a wrapped up story. Like you already get to the point where it has a beginning, a middle, and an end. Like, there doesn't need even to be a sequel. Why did they make a sequel to that? And then you find out that the Emperor is black, and that's all I need to know. It's like, okay, well, that's where their effort went in. That's where the big bucks went in, to the race swapping machine. All right, they had to pay Netflix to give them the race swapper, and they did it. It's like, okay. But, I didn't watch it, and I heard it's shit. And I'm like, wow. I'm like Goku with Ultra Instinct. Like, my body reacts on its own. I don't even have to think about it. That doesn't even take me like the time, like, should I go see it? No, it's like, oh, Gladiator 2. That's all I need to know. It's just the title. It's getting to the point where it's just the fucking title. See, Pedro Pascal is another asshole, but like he's a different type of asshole. Like at least he doesn't piss me off to the point where I wouldn't see his movies. But he wants to play Mandalorian, and he knows that it's going to be a role where the helmet is on the whole time, and he is like, no, I don't want. Like, to be fair, I don't really understand why they chose that guy. Like why would you pick a famous actor to play in a role where they have a helmet on the whole time, right? Like, the casting director, what the fuck was he thinking? But the actor himself, you take the job, and he's like, well, it's difficult to be expressive with a helmet on. And it's like, well, how the fuck did Darth Vader do it, bitch? I mean, holy shit, when I was a kid, like, the Power Rangers. How did the Power Rangers manage to do it? Like, there were just, like, so many roles where people have masks on. Like, there's another one, Judge Dredd, right? Not the one with Sylvester Stallone, because that one's shit. But, like, the other one that they made, which is very faithful to the comics, I don't even know why it wasn't successful. I think, like, people just started watching it after it got released and after it was doing its money, so. But the actor has the helmet the whole fucking movie. It's like, what do you mean? It's like, well, I can't act because, like, no, shut the fuck up. It is possible to act with the helmet on. EU game companies will lose more cash going woke. Not if they get money from the EU, like Dustboard. Like, Dustboard is actually profitable if you think about it, right? Like, Dustboard didn't make any money, but they got grants from the EU. Like, they got $1 million. That game doesn't cost $1 million to make, chat. There's no fucking way Dustboard costs $1 million to make. But they did get that much from the EU, from the US, from government grants. Like, they're happy. It doesn't matter it didn't sell. Who the fuck cares? It's not about using his voice. Like, if you have a helmet on, you use body language, obviously. Pedro Pascal has a career because he's technically a person of color but looks whitish. No, I think he did a good job in Game of Thrones, man. I think that's why he's got a career. To be fair, though, when it comes to Hollywood, I don't see that many stars. I mean, when I was a kid, Hollywood was actually a big thing to the point where it's like, oh, Arnold Schwarzenegger is starring in this movie. And it really didn't care what the movie was. It's like just the fact that Arnold Schwarzenegger is in it, you would go and you see it. You gotta see it, right? Now, I can't think of any actor that would be, maybe like Morgan Freeman or someone, but the problem is like all the actors that exist that have names, they're old. They're old, and like Hollywood is trying to milk the dead cow. Like they're getting Harrison Ford from the geriatrics hospital to play Indiana Jones, right? Like you're putting an old person in an action movie. Like fuck is wrong with you? But the new actors, you don't even know their names. It's like people call them Thor, Iron Man, and then most of them don't even know who their name is. But there's no young, upcoming Hollywood star that I can think of. This is why when they made the what was the name of that battle? Not Battlefront. They made a really bad action movie. The one that has Claptrap as a character. It's on the tip of my tongue. Shit. Right, but they're making this action movie based on a video game, and it's like only hags. Like, cause at first I was watching the actors, and I'm like, well, you know, maybe the left is right. Like maybe my brain is rotten on anime. Like maybe I just don't know how women look like, you know? Cause to me, yeah, Borderlands. Sorry, and I was like, I'm looking at the actors, and I'm like, to me, it looks like every single one of these women is on menopause. Like what the fuck? And then I go on Wikipedia and I look it up, and like the youngest actress was 35 years old. And I'm like, holy shit, so you're making like an action movie, and you're casting like your youngest actress is 35, and the rest of the actors were grandmas. They were like 60, 65. Are you fucking insane? Like, what are you smoking? And of course the movie tanked. It is what it is, I guess. Hello, Agri Jager. Borderlands wasn't as bad as I thought. It was stupid, dumb popcorn flick. Yeah, but like if they were to throw a Megan Fox in it when Megan Fox was young, then I guarantee to you it would have been better. Yeah, like the cast from Orville. The cast from Orville would have been perfect. But that's the thing, right? Like they don't have young actors anymore. Like they only cast old people because those are the brand names that they still have somewhat renowned. And now you have VTubers coming from behind. It's like, people know what a Gargura is, and most people don't know what a Hollywood actor is anymore. This is why Gargura is singing at the baseball stadium. Who said that it was awful? I don't know, I haven't seen it, man. I'm telling you, like, my body has ultra instinct. I dodge these things like the plague. Watching new movies is like seeing The Substance. It's a wreck. Isn't The Substance the one that, no, I think like that was called The Stuff. It was a horror movie where they find like some liquid and they kept eating and eating it. and it dissolves your insides, and then it like comes out of your mouth and it infects other people. Was a colossal shit sandwich. Yeah, see, like from the trailer, that's what I thought, but like someone watched it and liked it. I have a person on my server that was like, "How is this movie? Does people like it?" And I'm like, What a fucked up way to assess whether or not something is good." Uh, People are messaging me about Styx, Hex, and Hammer. I understand that he has to give away his guns. Like, he's not found guilty yet, but the way the US legal system works, like, you gotta give away your guns if you're in his situation. I don't know how many weapons he's got, but yeah. I wonder, like, when's the next court date? And is it live streamed? Red flag law. Do you know what? Like it's such a dumb take. Like the red flag laws. If you actually look in history and you know where the first red flag law came from, you will realize why it's an abomination. So, the first red flag law came with the invention of the automobile. So let me see if I can actually find it on Wikipedia. Oh. Okay, so. This is the best picture that I got, chat, so you're going to have to deal with it. This is like when the first automobile was invented, right? And apparently they were actually really bad. They didn't go very fast. But the problem with it is that if you actually went downhill, it could pick up speed, and again, the brakes were really awful. If you tried taking a direct turn, it would flip over. I mean, basically, to compare it with any form of locomotion from today, you'd rather have a horse and carriage than to have this shit. But it was cool because, well, first of all, you don't need a horse, right? So you don't have to buy hay for it. It doesn't shit where it moves. So, like, it was that, and it was also a symbol of status. It's like, well, you're wealthy enough in order to have something like this. Now, the problem with it is that it murdered children. Well, apparently, like, back then, kids were playing in the street, right? Like, they didn't know about cars. And as I mentioned before, you would go on top of a hill, and then when the car would go down, it would pick up speed, and you would have an accident. Like, the brakes there didn't work as good as they do today, right? And even if they did, like, you don't want to brake this thing when it's catching like 50 miles an hour. You just no. It's going to throw you away. They didn't have seat belts, right? So anyway, like, the problem with this is that there's this guy, goes on top of a hill, goes down, loses control, and it goes into a group of kids playing. I think it murdered a couple, injured someone else, and then it caused a discussion about the car safety and what people should do. And, like, a lot of people were upset because, number one, they were jealous that they don't have a car. And number two, apparently it also spooked horses. So anyway, they decided to have red flag laws. And it's like, what is a red flag law? Well, you needed to have a guy with a red flag walking 5 meters in front of the vehicle. And apparently if there's a horse or something, the people in the car have to get out and they have to unpack the vehicle, because yes, you could pack it or unpack it and wait for the horse to leave, and then you you put it back together, right? So this is like what the concept of a red flag law is from. Is the most retarded thing ever. Obviously, it didn't stick because it was so impractical. But the idea that they're using the same name, red flag laws, today for guns is really telling. I doubt that they don't know the history of the red flag laws. Like I find it difficult to believe that the first legislator that came up with it didn't know. So it is a mockery. It definitely has to be a mockery. But yeah, now it's in the lexicon, I guess. Hope all is well, V, my boy. Tiflosion couldn't beat the allegations. You know they got your mans on sex assault charges, lol. The guy you be hanging. Wait, who? Where am I hanging? Wait, what? Are you talking about sticks? Huh. It's kind of weird. That's your problem right there. Kids should have been inside studying. Well, the idea of the red flag law, I think, was to just ban cars. Because like they were made so impractical that anyone with a vehicle would be unable to follow the laws, right? And they couldn't just outright ban them, because like America doesn't usually do that unless it's like the nuclear option. So they made this legislation. Oh, the Pokemon leak. I haven't seen it. But I was like worried. It's like, Jesus, is someone that I associate with a sex pest? Like, what? Because usually I'm a great judge of character, you know? I'm knocking on wood now because I don't want to find out in like a couple of months someone pulling up this live stream after, you know, God knows who gets into trouble with the law. Thanked it for live stands up immediately after seeing this message. Yeah. Man, like seriously, I'm looking at the history of cars, and it's so fucking hilarious. Like for instance, the first time they made police officers for vehicles, like that's fucking hilarious. So hold on. First traffic police. I don't know if I can find pictures of them, but yeah, they created chaos basically because initially the first traffic police was was handled by the actual cops. But if you look at the Constitution and the way things are in the U.S., they can't really stop you for probable cause. So like without probable cause, so like they didn't really have the ability to stop people for a traffic stop and inspect the vehicle or whatever, right? So there weren't laws that prevented you from drinking and driving and all that shit. But there were a lot of car crashes. Like the more people had cars, especially like back then when you didn't have road signs and stuff, like there were a lot of crashes. So eventually, like the actual police is telling the government, it's like, look, we actually have criminals to catch. We can't just sit on the street all day. So the government creates the worst thing in the world, which is the traffic police. And people wouldn't stop at them because like they look different. And it's like, well, I don't have to stop at you. They had like this problem. And then they didn't even know how to stop the cars, right? Because there wasn't like any type of signs that they could do or anything. Right? So it took a while until drivers actually understood that they need to stop at a traffic officer. It's not as funny though as when some countries switched from driving to the left and driving to the right. Jesus take the wheel, yeah. Yeah, the thing with the Pokemon leaks, I haven't looked into them, but like, someone was telling me, oh my goodness, it's like Pokemon and Rape and all of that. Um, but it's written by a woman. And the thing is, like, most individuals don't realize. I don't know where this myth came from. That I think, like, maybe if you're a soy boy and, you know, like, women don't open up to you, you think that women aren't interested in sex or anything like that. But they are. And there's, like, two types of women. Number one is the women that are really into vanilla and stuff, which is normal. But then you have, like, the women that are into kinky shit. And the ones that are into kinky shit, they're usually, like, into rape and stuff, but like they don't actually want that in real life. It's just their fantasy, right? Like there's usually a difference between what people want in fantasy versus what's real. Like for instance, tentacles, right? Like tentacles in real life look awful. Right? Like an octopus or something looks awful in real life, but when it's drawn it looks different. So like the fantasy is very different than what looks real, and a lot of women are into like 50 Shades of Grey shit, Twilight stuff, vampires, blood drinking. Like for some reason vampires are really popular with women. But like I don't think there's a single woman that would actually want to be bitten, you know? So it is like a fantasy stuff. Check Discord for Tylipsian lore. In the new Pokemon leak, we learned that Tylipsian are half human, being that Gaslit and Rape, everyone trainer with a Tylipsian on their team. I'm not an expert in Pokemon. I don't even know what the fuck a Tylipsian is, to be honest. It's not. It wasn't the anime I grew up with. I grew up with Dragon Ball, and I think I watched some Sailor Moon when I was a kid, but that's pretty much it. Just with women, vampire are also a male fan. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Monster girls are a male fantasy. I haven't heard many guys like vampire. Okay, anyone in the chat that's a guy who's into vampires? I always thought the Mickey. It's like, okay, so the skin is cold, they're undead. What the fuck is that cool, you know? Like, a succubus is obviously superior, but is there anyone in the chat that actually is a guy and likes vampires? Even Blood Rain was something that I liked. Yeah, see? Okay, so Zlixian is gay. That's okay, Zlixian. It's 2024. You can embrace your new sexuality. Look, see, Yamachi prefers succubis. Monster girls in generals, yeah. By the way, there was someone that asked me if I saw the meme with, why do men like monster girls? And it's like, well, because like real girls, the monster is on the outside. And I'm like, oh. Vampires suck. Well, I mean, I assume it's a vampire woman, right? Like, if you're a guy. But, like, again, if you're looking at mythical creatures, like, you got monster girls. Why would you go with a vampire? It's so lame. Yeah, you can have a fairy girl. You can have an angel girl. Like, there's a lot of cool shit. Like, why would you go with the vampire? You can have the Lamia, you know, like, there's a lot of cool stuff. It's like, and you're going with the vampire. So mundane. Yeah, Monster Girls aren't furry. You know, like someone pointed out something that really blew my mind, and I wonder if chat can tell me what the fuck. Did you notice that, like, sexual kinks are represented on the political spectrum? And I was like, no fucking way. But then you look at it and it's true. Like, you look at the far left, what do you get? You get the LGBT stuff, right? Like, transgender stuff, and you get, like, furries. And you have, like, yaoi and other mangas that have, like, queer stuff, right? That's on the far left. And when you go to the far right, like, what do you get? You get anime, you know, like Monster Girls. It's so fucking weird. Yeah, no, seriously, think about it. Like, bronies are on the right as well. Like I genuinely, like, wonder, like, why that is. Because, like, usually if you go on a Discord server that's dedicated to, like, some sort of kink, and it's like, okay, you go to the furry Discord server. Everybody is far left. Like, all of them have pronouns in their bio. All of them have that shit, you know? And then you go to another Discord server that's with Monster Girls. Everyone is a right wing. Everyone is sharing Trump memes. And they're like, what the fuck? Now, obviously, there's differences, right? Like, you may have a furry that's right wing, and you have someone that's into Monster Girls and is a leftist. But it's almost like a complete overlap over the political spectrum. And I'm like, why? Yeah, no, seriously, like, think about it. Like, I'm probably going to post it on Twitter when I find it again. But it's an accurate representation. I'm into vampires, Vampire the Masquerade style. But aren't they asexual, though, in Vampire the Masquerade? Like, if I remember correctly, they don't have desires. Yeah, like, when you have yaoi, you go on Twitter and, you know, you usually say something like, oh, they gave this character a manly jawline again, you know? Like, I wish they would have made this character sexy. And you're immediately attacked by people with pronouns in the bio. And when you're looking at what they like, yaoi shit. It's like naked men with big muscly chests kissing with each other, and you're like, okay, so this is what leftists like. I haven't seen, like, a right-winger that's into that yet. Lady Dimitrescu. Okay, you know what? Fine. She's not really a vampire, though. She's a Resident Evil bioweapon. It doesn't count. Right-wingers are into werewolf girls dominating, though. Oh, I see. Yaoi characters are really muscular? It depends. I have seen both representations, okay? Like, I have seen yaoi characters muscular, and I have seen them a little bit more on the thin side. Lady Dimitrescu is more of a Hulk? No, she's not a Hulk. She drinks the blood. Drinking the blood is not necessarily a vampire. Like, she can be a bioweapon that drinks the blood. She can be a mosquito. Actually, yeah, like, there was, like, the mosquito girl in One Punch Man. She was pretty hot. Yeah, speaking of diversity, this is going to be my video for tomorrow, but someone actually fixed the face of the character in Resident Evil, and people on Nexus mods are freaking the fuck out. Apparently you're not allowed, like this is some sort of sacred game, because for some reason it treats sexual abuse very poorly, I would say. Like, it's a game where, I keep saying this, but it's true, right? Like, you take a lead pipe and you hit nurses in the head with it. It's like, yeah, this is what's on Nexus mod. It looks like shit deleted. Looks awful. Quick making mods. right? Like people are absolutely livid, and you're like, well, what did the mod do? Like, did they strip the character naked? No, they just changed the face. Let me see if I can find the example. Well, actually, it's my thumbnail. You can look at my thumbnail and you can see it. And again, like, they're bringing porn into the conversation. It's like a mod that just changes the face, and it's like, oh, you're gooning. It's like, dude, she's not like a stripper. It's just that it. Oh, here we go. And this is like an argument that I genuinely don't fucking understand, right? So, like, this is the new character modified, and she actually looks more like a woman, and this is the one that they made, right? Chads are unironically making mods to make the rape victim character harder. First of all, like, spoiler alert, you fucktard. It's like, for some reason, everyone has to play the original, right? Like, if you haven't played the original, you shouldn't buy the remake. I hope people actually do that. But secondly, are you saying that, okay, so if someone has been sexually abused, they need to look like a hag? Is this a requirement? Does it happen before or after the abuse? Like, they can't tell the difference between a product and an actual human being. This is a product. A company paid money to create this so that they can sell it to you for cash. It's not an actual person. She's not even, it's not that she's a fat woman. Is that the jawline again? And it's also like the facial expression. She's like, literally, the world is your oyster. It's a video game. It's fiction. You can make literally anything you want. And you make this, and we know why they make this. Because we've seen how the concept art looked like. And the concept art was abso-fucking-lutely amazing. It was the most Silent Hill thing that I have ever seen. But they didn't go with the concept art because it wasn't inclusive enough. And inclusive means that hags need to see themselves. Let me see if I can actually find the thing so you can see how the original character looked like. And then I'll show you something else which is even more funny. Ah, here we go. Like, this has so much soul and personality in it because it looks Silent Hill. Like, anyone who played the series, like, you instantly see this, and you're like, Silent Hill. Right? Like, seriously, like, if you have, like, 5 characters, and you take a character from Mass Effect, you take a character from Dragon Age, you take a character from Silent Hill, and you take a character from Resident Evil, and you play this game, it's like, can you mix and match which character belongs in what universe? If I see this, Silent Hill. This, Aunt Jemima in the grocery store. HR Karen going to the workplace. And apparently people agree with me, which is why that mod is one of the most downloaded mods. But anyway, I wanted to show you something else that's interesting. Lara Croft voice actress versus the actual Lara Croft in the cartoon. And again, it's a cartoon, right? Like, you can draw her literally any way you want. People are saying that her breasts are so huge they distort reality around them. This is why Lara Croft looks like a man. It's like the breasts are distorted. Like she likes the breasts so much that she wants to turn into a man in order to, V, did you ever hear about ugly victim? I don't fucking care, man. Look, if the game is treating such heavy topics, I don't want to play it. Like, I play games for enjoyment and entertainment and fantasy. Sexual abuse is not part of my fantasy, so I'm not going to play those games. Personally, I like bondage and succubi. Good combo. And thank you for the memberships, SRC. Almost missed them. Yeah, my God, like, the weird thing is, like, when you're arguing with right-wingers, you get, like, different takes. But when you're arguing with the leftists, it's every single time the same thing. It's like, you just want a goon. You've never seen real women. The thing that really bothers me is that if you complain about the fact that they're making ugly characters, they will say, you never seen how real women look like. And if you tell them that you're married, they will say, well, if you're married, why are you complaining about fictional characters? So it's like, well, what the fuck can I complain about fictional characters then, right? You're basically saying that these characters are beyond reproach, right? If you're single, you can't complain because you're a virgin. And if you have a girlfriend, you can't complain because you got a girlfriend. What the fuck is this logic? Like, why can't you complain? Dicepunk Studios. Today I noticed all the male character designs in Tomb Raiders are more distinctive and memorable than any of the women characters. I don't watch that. I told you, I got Ultra Instinct. I just, like, I see something, I saw the trailer for 5 seconds and I was like, yeah, not for me. Or they'll just say you're weird, yeah. Like, weird is such a feminine insult, isn't it? It's like something that mean girls would say in high school. Like, oh yeah, well, this guy is so weird. And like, okay. People that play Silent Hill are for there to get emotionally destroyed. No, you play Silent Hill because you like horror games. That's literally it. Like, I generally don't care about the story or anything. I always found the story to be annoying. The way the characters look at each other, and it's like so complex and philosophical. Like, shut the fuck up. The only Silent Hill that I liked is the one that people hated, which is Silent Hill The Room. I really like that. That one had like a straightforward story. I understood what was going on. It was great. All the other Silent... Oh, no, actually I like Silent Hill 5 as well. Like, that one was also straightforward. But like 1, 2, and 3 really annoyed me. It's like philosophical shit and convoluted story, and like, no. A lot of people actually like Silent Hill The Room. Well, when it came out, I remember that a lot of people hated it. Like, it was considered to be a really bad Silent Hill, and I don't know why. I think maybe like the gameplay or the controls or something. But it was definitely my favorite. I really loved it. Anyway, baby is crying. And I was going to leave anyway. So thank you for watching. I really appreciate the super chats, and I'll see you guys later. Take care.